Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Hollywood Knockbusters. We're back. I decided to bring back my lovely guest here, Ana Xaden. How are you doing, Anna?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're gonna be talking about the 1994 film Camp Nowhere. We both are big fans of this.
Yes.
I was gonna have my buddy Dustin on at one point, and
Hmm.
he does not like that movie now, like as an adult. And so it would have been interesting to sort of get that thing, but I decided
Yeah.
to let him do something that he actually likes for the next one that we
Nice.
do. Um, but yeah, sort of the point of these are like movies that didn't do very well in the box office, or maybe not as, talked about these days. Which is sad. I think Camp Nowhere is one of those films that should be talked about more still. Like people should
Oh
watch
yeah.
it with their kids, and because honestly, it's everything that kids don't do these days. I don't even know if kids even go to camp still.
They
Um,
go to church camp.
they
My
go to
niece just went to two different ones already.
okay. They go to
Yep.
church camp. We know that. I don't know if they go to. I don't even know if there's a thing called like you quote unquote fat camp anymore.
I
And
don't know. You don't hear about them anymore.
well, it's weird because we're sort of at this stage in our life where people are more embracing their bodies and everything.
Yeah.
And so it's like kind of shameful and I say quote unquote because it's really not appropriate to say, fat camp or whatever.
Yeah.
There was a whole another movie made in 1995 that was all about fat camp, heavyweights,
Heavyweights.
which, interestingly enough, this movie was produced by Hollywood Pictures, which is owned by Disney. A year later, Disney itself made another camp movie. Hmm. I wonder if they saw, because of Camp Nowhere, that there was sort of a market for kids, camp movies or whatever. Um,
They
Heavyweights
were
did a
good
lot
though.
better, though, I believe.
Yeah, it did.
That's kind of more well known than Camp Nowhere. Um,
When was that one made?
95, so it's like
90.
literally a
Oh,
year.
right after.
Yeah,
Oh
literally a
wow.
year after. I like it's weird to like think that both of those were kind of see Disney owns Hollywood Pictures, but they weren't Disney doing it, right? It wasn't Disney
Hmm.
itself doing it. It's just that they own that property, but the that property made that movie, right? So Hollywood Pictures made that movie. I don't think there is a Hollywood Pictures anymore, if I'm correct. So Disney just owns all the library. So, they'd own this movie as well as they own Fox. So they also own like Sandlot and um Rookie of the Year and things like that. A lot of uh
Okay.
Hey, sorry about that, folks. We've been having some technical difficulties over here. I don't know what's going on with my internet, but it acted up before the show, and stuff too. So I know it's like having issues at this moment, you know.
Uh, is it bad weather there?
No, not
Oh,
that's
weird.
it's nice
Huh.
here. 76 and clear, so I don't know. Um,
Ah,
anyway, to go back to Camp Nowhere, let's go back to that. Let's talk about that real quick.
yes.
So, Camp Nowhere is a film made in 1994. For Hollywood Pictures. The cast included Jonathan Jackson, who you told me before you used to have like pictures of him in your room.
Oh yeah, all
Him
over my
and
wall. Andrew
Andrew
Keegan
Andrew Keegan.
and Zach Cavaricci, which was the guy playing guitar on Camp Nowhere, little Aussie guy.
Uh, so you had him too,
Yeah.
but you didn't have Burgess Meredith.
No.
That's the guy who played the old man who had the camp.
Oh.
he's Rocky's like manager, whatever, in
Yeah.
Rocky movies, first few Rocky movies.
Ah,
He's also the
yeah.
Penguin in Batman,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Adam
Wow.
West, Burt Ward Batman, 1960s.
Yeah. The
Thanks.
Batman nobody knows existed except people from the 90s and before.
Right. Not a lot of people talk about it as much, so yeah, we
Yeah.
know about it because it was on
Yeah.
TV all the
I grew
time.
up on that.
Yeah. But yeah, so interesting cast. So like Jonathan Jackson, Andrew Keegan, Marnette Patterson, who we just watched a movie together, or reviewed a movie together
Yeah.
with her, and I remember the days.
Yes,
Um, she's a great actress, and she was fun in
it
this.
really is.
No, she just kept saying Trey everything. Everything was Trey cool, Trey this, and I was like,
Yeah.
and it
Trey
got,
means like very.
does it?
Yeah. I
Is that
learned that
like
in Clueless. Trey cool.
Trey
Very
cool?
cool. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but then she kept saying it. I'm like, I
Yeah.
guess that was the thing at the time. I don't know, but it was so funny, you know. I was
I
like,
actually wanted to be her when I was that age. When this came
really?
out, I was like, she was, her and Jennifer Tilly were the two that I was like, I'm going blonde when I was 15.
Nice.
Yeah, because I was like, they look good with it. I can do it.
You look good in blonde, so you should have
Thank
kept
you.
it, you know.
Yeah, I go back to it every once in a well, every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Melody K was Gabby, you know.
Uh-huh.
And then let's see. Christopher Lloyd obviously was Dennis.
Yeah. He was
And
great. He's great in everything.
well, it's funny because there's two Back to the Future people. You know that, right?
Who was the other?
The
Wait.
sheriff. That's
Oh,
Biff.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow.
So they like have like scenes together, and it's weird because like in the original Back to the Future, they never had any scenes together really because like most of it was seen like Biff scenes were scenes with Michael J. Fox and stuff, you
Yeah.
know? So like
Yep.
it was really neat to kind of see both of them together, like, oh, it's a Back to the Future reunion right there. Um, Emmett Walsh, who um was the guy who what was his name? T.R. Polk, who was after him after the car. You know, he
Yeah.
wanted the money
Yeah.
for the car or whatever and stuff. And so he that man was in a movie that I absolutely love called Blood Simple. And I think he worked with the Coen brothers a lot. You know,
Nice.
he was in Blade Runner, he was in the movie The Jerk, My Best Friend's Wedding. I mean, dude, when you see his face, you know who he is, and I'm
Yeah.
happy to see that he's still kicking. So that's always
Nice.
good. Um,
Yeah.
let's see, Hillary Tuck, who's been in a lot of stuff. She was in like Life as a
Ah,
House, and
he was in the Honey I Shrunk the Kids TV show.
yep. And so it
Yes.
was really neat to see her, you know.
Yeah.
And that kid, uh, the kid that like had the crush on her was hilarious. I love that kid.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it
Takes
wasn't.
his swimsuit off in the water.
Yeah, he was pretty funny.
I had
Um,
actually forgotten about that part. And my mom's like, You don't remember that part? That was the funniest part. It's like, okay. Yeah, my mom got
oh,
excited that we
at
were
the end of
doing
the
those.
movie where he takes off his underwear or
Yeah.
these swim shorts, and
Yeah.
she's like, well, you don't have another pair, you know. She like leaves because she was trying to
Yeah.
get him to do. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but that was funny.
Oh, yeah.
Um, then there's who else is in this movie that well we got Jessica Biel or not Jessica Alba, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Jessica Alba. I'm sorry, I did not mean Beale. And Allison Mack from Super
Yeah.
was a Smallville. Unfortunately, she's I think in prison now, if I'm correct.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was part of some cult. that was like sex
Oh
cults.
my.
Yeah. She
Wow.
yeah.
What a way to flip your life.
It said as of mid-September 2021, Mack is incarcerated in the U.S. federal prison system at Federal Correctional Institute FCI Dublin, a low security prison for female in Dublin, California, near San Francisco, not Dublin, Ireland.
Mhm.
FCI Dublin is also where Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin each served short sentences in relation to the college admission bribery scandal. Max projected release date is December 15th, 2023. So she gets out
Wow.
later this year.
Yeah.
I wonder how her life's going to be changed, like, 'cause,
Yeah. I didn't know
and
that there was a specific prison they sent like actors to.
I'm sure, it's
Yeah.
got like famous actors, especially because they got to keep them away from sort of the inmates that would like harass them or something because of what they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. So let's see. Hold on. All right. So I'm trying to look up some more stuff for it. So
Okay.
but yeah, so Allison Mack, Jessica Alba, there were two twins, Crystal and Tiffany Mataris or something. It looks like Tiffany is still doing stuff, maybe. I don't know if
Ah.
both of them are still doing stuff. It's Crystal.
There
Yeah,
was something else that I watched not long ago, and I can't remember what it was.
well, they were in Kindergarten Cop,
That was
Problem
it.
Problem
It's
Child 2,
actually, yeah, they were
Single
in a
White
lot of stuff.
Female, and
Oh, I don't remember him in
the
that.
the last thing that they did was 100 and 1,000 zombie heads. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, so the only reason I thought that Tiffany might whatever because she's the only one on here with like a picture on IMDb. So it means to me
Uh-huh.
like she's a little bit more serious about wanting to continue her acting work. It's
Yeah.
interesting to like once you're kind of a twin like that, Mary Kate and Ashley sort of do
Hmm.
movies all together, all the time. You
Hmm.
play the either you play the same character or you play twins, together or
Yeah.
whatever. And that's cool, but I always liked it when the twins went out and did their own thing. Like when I think it was either Mary Kate or Ashley, I think it was Mary Kate, went out and did
Hmm.
her own acting, without Ashley, or whatever. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? Like I like that
Yeah.
because, it makes them feel more individual. The guys from Big Daddy
Dylan
were,
and Cole Sprouse.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh, was it, I think,
Co
which one does,
Jackie Cody. Huh?
which one does, Riverdale? I think Dylan.
Riverdale. I think it's Dylan. The other one opened a mead store in Brooklyn. He makes mead.
Oh, like beer?
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
I guess
Uh,
that's what mead is. I'm still
yeah.
unclear as to what that is. But yeah, like he has a wine store, a mead store bar in Brooklyn somewhere. Or at least he did when I was still living in New York.
Hold on, let me see. It's Cole actually who's um
Riverdale.
in Riverdale.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, he is the one with the darker hair. Yeah, they changed their hair color too.
That's probably a good idea, honestly, to like
Yeah.
separate them. 'Cause I mean,
Yeah.
they are identical twins, so
Oh yeah.
they look identical.
Yep.
But so anyway, yeah. So those two girls are in Camp Get Nowhere.
Hmm.
Um, let's see if there's anybody big from. So the dad and mom are Peter Scolari, and unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He died in
Oh.
2021. But he was on Newhart. Oh, he was on the Honey I Shrunk the Kids TV show as well. He was
Hmm.
he was Wayne. He was the dad.
Oh yeah.
That's funny.
Oh wow.
That's funny. I did not know that. But he was on the TV show Girls, and he was in That Thing You Do, which I love. I don't know if you've seen
I
that or
like
not.
that one. It was cute.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Um,
I also like the song from it.
oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I heard a good rendition of that song through Newfound Glory did a whole album of like covering like a punk version of all, like love songs from the movie soundtracks. They do like
Oh, that's
I Don't
cool.
Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith. They did the one from Karate Kid 2, The Glory of Love, and stuff
Ah,
by Peter Cetera. So they did a bunch
uh-huh.
of these those things, and they're That Thing You Do was probably my favorite because it was just so already it was a great song, but they just made it
Uh-huh.
like more like hip to punk, and so I still listen to it every now and then because their
I need to check
version.
that out.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, I'm sure. Um,
Nice.
so let's see. Um, the mother is Romy Walt Hall, and unfortunately, she also died in 2021. Ooh, it's kind of
Oh
sucky.
no.
Those are the parents of Jonathan Jackson's character.
Mhm.
So, um, but she was on Quantum Leap. I'm not sure if that was just for an episode or she
Hmm.
was, yeah, I think just for an episode. She was in Face Off, with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, Howling
Ah.
4, and Eight Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter, stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
Jonathan Jackson, from well, he's on Nashville, but like Tuck Everlasting and General Hospital, Insomnia. Dude's been in a lot of stuff.
You
But
know, I
but
asked
you had
my
a
mom
huge
what happened
crush.
to him on General Hospital. She has wiped her memory of him. I was
Oh,
like, he was lucky. She's like, who is lucky? I was like, Laura's son. She's like, what?
I don't know. I can't say anything about that because I never watched the show.
Well, I
I
used to watch it for him.
Well, here's my problem with soap operas is
Mhm.
especially now, if I were to get into them now, I can't because I'm one
Ah,
of those people that have to watch it from the very beginning, and
yeah,
so I
you've
had to watch
missed a lot.
Melrose Place, and thankfully that only had 7 seasons,
Hmm.
but like it's a lot to do, so you have to like it's a time, consuming. Now I'm
Hmm.
rewatching them again because I love them. Um, I don't know. For some reason, Melrose Place, that TV show, always just made me feel good. Even if
Ah,
dark, sinister stuff going on sometimes, which I liked. Because that's. But a lot of times, it was just a really good look at like probably what was happening in the '90s for a lot of people.
hmm.
Dealing with stuff. So, have you ever seen Melrose Place?
I remember seeing an episode when it first came out, but then I forgot about it. So I never got to see it all the way through.
Well,
What's it on?
what is it on? Paramount Plus, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a CBS show, I want to say. So yeah,
Ah,
Paramount Plus. The new Melrose that they had like one season of a new which had some of the same characters popped up like in episodes or whatever, and I'm like, I heard about that, and like I'm excited. Not gotten a chance to watch it because it's not on Paramount Plus for some reason.
oh,
Um,
weird. I didn't even know they were rehashing it.
um, yeah, I didn't know either. Um.
Hmm.
Until like I saw it, then I was like, oh yes, I gotta see it, or whatever at some point.
Yeah.
So just haven't. Um, let's see. All right, I kind of want to real quick go over like the story, and this is from IMDb and stuff, so we can kind of fill in some blanks in a second. But
Okay.
Morris Mudhimmel has a problem. His parents desperately want to send him away to summer camp. He ain't going there, and what would do anything to get out of it. Talking to his friends, he realizes that they're all facing the same sentence: boring summer camp. Together with his friends, he hatches a plan to trick all the parents into sending them to one of his own design, which would actually be a parent-free paradise. blackmailing former drama teacher Dennis Van Welker into helping. They must convince their parents that the camp is genuine and that they aren't allowed to visit. That's pretty much
Hmm.
the gist of the movie. So like
Yeah.
I you know, I remember as a kid I really liked this movie, but as an adult, I think I even have way more respect for it because it's such a simple sort of concept. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the whole basis of the movie can be summed into one sentence that Mud says, which is with that money we could just buy our own camp, right? And
Yep.
I'm like, boom. He just set up the whole premise in that one line, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. Like you don't see movies be able to do that with, and it sounded like a natural dialogue. It didn't seem like they
Mhm.
filled that in there. You know,
Yeah.
a scene in a trailer or something, where, they say it like that, but it worked. So yeah, then Andrew Keegan's like, wait a minute, what did you say? Go back. And it's like, I said we can maybe buy our own camp. And
Hmm.
then the whole movie just goes on to that. And of course, one of his friends finds out what he's doing, because he finds out that this camp, the computer camp he talked about, does not exist, which is very interesting. He figured that out without the internet. This all is all
Yeah.
internet. Like
Oh
nowadays, anybody could
yeah.
Google. Like this movie probably couldn't be made today because parents would know, like that camp doesn't exist. I'm gonna Google that camp. That camp doesn't exist.
Yeah.
They would have to literally, in order to make this movie today, they would have to have kids create their own website for each camp and fake website for each camp, make it look good, which would take time and money and energy when
Yeah.
they shouldn't need, like,
Or they just make a Facebook page and say, yeah, there it is. I could actually see kids trying that though.
yeah, try and like create their own Facebook page. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah.
There's the camp. They just steal
I
the
also,
Google images of different camps and
oh
say
my gosh.
and make it look like
I
it's
also
like that
think
big
that
camp.
it was cool how I thought it was cool how each one of them told their parents they were going to a different type of camp. Like there's military camp, there's acting camp, it's the weight camp, all kinds of stuff. And the
Right.
parents are like, okay,
It's not
here's my
just
money.
it's not just like computer camp or whatever,
Yeah.
which I mean, as a kid, I never went to camp, and
Ah.
did you go to camp?
I went once and it was not good. The day after I got there, I was calling my mom. I was like, these people are weird. Get me out of here.
Yeah,
They made fun of me because I was really fat and we had swim time in a lake. And every time I got on the high dive off into the lake, they start mooing at me. So I was like, okay, this is not cool. I should have gone to fat camp.
oh,
So
terrible.
yeah, they threw
That's
food
mean.
at me in the cafeteria. I was like, who are these people and why do they hate me? But
Kids are mean,
I was the
man.
biggest
Like
one in camp. I was like the fattest person in camp. So
kids are
yeah.
still mean. Like
Oh yeah.
the
I think they're
older,
meaner now than they used to be.
once again, internet. They can look anything up. They can figure things
Oh
out.
yeah.
They're smarter than they used to be. I mean, we had to figure shit out on our own. We're the
Oh
same
yeah.
age, so we had to actually figure shit out on our own. We had to go to the library at our
Oh yeah.
school, and we had to go look up this thing called a book, and we had to look up these pages, and
Yep.
we didn't have to go to our phone, and
No, we
everything.
went to the index cards.
Right. So like it's great to see movies like this because it's back to sort of my reality growing up. Like
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with kids who have cell phones or something, or
I
what.
didn't grow. I think I saw my first cell phone other than on Saved by the Bell, but in person when I was 17. And it was a flip Motorola that you had to plug into your car.
I don't even remember what my first cell phone was that I saw. But yeah, other than the Zax phone, which I always thought was just a regular
Uh-huh.
phone.
Yeah.
I never thought it because it looked like a regular portable phone. It did not look
Yeah.
like a cell phone. So I just thought it was a portable phone that was hooked up to the school. Like
Yeah.
I did not know it was for a long time, but didn't know it was his personal cell phone or something.
Yeah. We were just like, whoa, he took his phone to school.
Yeah, kids don't, I mean, in my school, no kids had cell phones. They weren't allowed.
Mine either.
And
I took my mom's to school after I had somebody rear in my car. And she's like, take the bag phone. She called it the bag phone because it's actually in a little zipper pouch bag.
so yeah, so
And
looking
when
at
you
the,
would, huh?
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say when you would push the numbers, it's like boop boop, really loud.
So we look back at this movie, I mean, it feels absolutely authentically 90s. It
Yeah,
has that feel of kids playing outside, and the kids
yeah,
loved playing outside. I mean, they wanted to watch their Beavis and Butthead and their Melrose Place and all this other, or not Melrose, Beverly Hills 90210.
yeah.
Marnette's character, Trisha, was like obsessed with Dylan, apparently. If I can't watch Dylan, I'll die. It's like a line in the movie. And I was like, that's so funny that, I mean, why is everybody so Dylan? Like, why do they like Dylan? They didn't like Brandon, you
I
know?
don't know because that was a Brandon and the other one, Seth, the Brian Austin Green. I forgot what his character's name was, but I like those two, and I was like Luke Perry or Dylan. I was like, he's a bad boy. I don't like him. He get into trouble.
What about Ian Ziering's character? Forgot what his name
I
was.
saw him as a super snooty guy that
He
would
sort of
never talk
was.
to me. Yeah, I was like, I don't think I'd like him talking to me when I was watching it. And then
Yeah.
they started 90210 back over in 2009, I think. May have been 7. But they brought a bunch of characters back and
Yeah.
it's like a whole new crew of people, but those kids have problems.
So it
I
was
didn't
David,
remember
by
the
the way.
original 90210 being that problematic, but these kids, I'm like, what are y'all doing with your lives?
David, by the way, was Brian Austin Green's
Ah,
character, David
yeah.
Silver.
See, I like
Um,
him because he was like the musician and stuff.
yeah, I mean everybody. I met Brian Austin Green. He's a sweet guy. He's really nice.
Nice.
I saw him. So he was at a convention just signing posters for free, actually, because uh anybody who like I guess got a poster for one of the movies that he was promoting got a free thing. But I went to get him to
Ah,
sign something, so I paid him whatever to sign. Or no, I know I said I wish I brought my Kickboxer 2 DVD for you to sign. And he goes, "Why am I on the cover of that?" 'Cause he was in Kickboxer too, right? And I said,
ah.
"But I have Albert Pune in the already signed," and he goes, "Who?" And I go, "The director of the movie that you were in." He was like, he looked at me and he goes, "Dude, I was like 12,
My
like,
gosh.
and I was like, okay, I'll give you a break on that. You're right." He's funny though. I liked him. He was really nice. Just
Nice.
just he wasn't rude. He wasn't like, dude, I would never blah blah, blah. Um
Yeah.
he did talk about how like he had done a couple horror films, but like horror films weren't his thing.
Ah,
Like he doesn't I don't even think he watches horror films. So, but it was interesting. It was really cool to kind of meet him.
nice.
I'd love to like hang out with him again sometime at a convention or something, but
That'd
like
be
that
cool.
that was like the only time I ever saw him, at a convention. So I don't know if he even does any of those because he's busy. He's working. He's constantly doing stuff. So good for him,
Nice.
you know. Um,
Last I heard, he was with Megan Fox, and then somehow, poof, he disappeared, and Megan Fox was with Machine Gun Kelly. I'm like, what? You traded Brian Austin Green for this guy?
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think And then didn't she start dating like Pete Davidson at some point and too?
I think so. And I'm like, okay.
Hey, you know what?
That
I
one I
mean,
don't understand. I mean, maybe
I,
he's a good guy. I don't know, but
apparently he gets like what Kim Kardashian, Megan
yeah,
Fox. He gets all the hottest, like
yeah.
most popular women on Instagram, as his, girlfriends. He's must be doing something right. I mean, um, but but anyway, like, yeah. So to go back to Camp Nowhere, it's
Yeah.
gonna keep doing that, folks. Just know we're
We
gonna go off
always
topic.
do that.
Yeah, go off topic because why not? Um. Staying on topic is boring. Um, so it was written by Andrew Kurtzman, um, who also wrote Down Periscope. I don't know if you
Ah,
never saw that movie or not. I've seen it
I
years
did.
ago.
Yeah, I saw it when I was like, I think in college.
He also wrote See No Evil, Hear No Evil, which I think Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor movie.
Ah,
He also wrote Hot Paint, uh, John Larroquette, John Glover, and Gregory Harrison. And Number One with a Bullet, uh,
hmm,
which Robert Carradine, Billy D. Williams, and Peter Graves movie. And then Camp Nowhere. He's got three upcoming projects, so that's good. He's got a movie called
nice.
Sober Buddies in development, another
Hmm,
movie called Man That Rocks the Cradle,
hmm,
comedy drama. I'm guessing it sounds like a parody of The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and
hmm,
then Last Guys on Earth comedy. So those three are things he's got. He was an executive producer of Camp Nowhere,
nice.
and he did script revisions for that Albert Brooks slash Brendan Fraser movie, The Scout, the baseball.
Ah, I saw that a long time ago.
The movie was also co-written by Elliot Wald. Um, I guess they co-wrote Hot Paint, See No Evil, Hear
Hmm,
No Evil, and Down Periscope together.
cool.
Unfortunately, Elliot is no longer with us.
Oh,
He died at the age of 57 in 2003.
I'm so young.
Yeah. Let's see. Marnette, as we described before, uh, she's been in a few movies. She was in American Sniper, Think Like a Dog. She was in, I remember being in like Supernatural, in episodes, the Bloody Mary episode. She
Ah,
was in Charmed for the last uh 8 episodes or so or whatever,
hmm,
like of the last season of the original Charmed, you know. She was in a bunch of different stuff.
hmm.
I remember also from like there's a movie called Who's Your Daddy? Um, she was in that, and it had like I bought it originally because I was a huge Christine Lakin fan. I still am. And this chick
Hmm.
from the girl from Step by Step, who was
Yeah.
Al from Step by Step. So I always bought everything like she was in, and so it's funny because Marnette was also in that, and I'm buying everything Marnette's been in. So I've got that. Let's see. So she's been in a bunch of different things. Her other big thing, claim to fame, was that she was in a TV show when we were young, called
Hmm.
TV show called what- let's see, what was that? What was the one? Crap. I thought it was Something So Right. It was like on NBC, I think, or
I don't
CBS, one of
remember
those.
that one.
NBC. It starred
Uh,
Jared Burns, who was big on he had a TV show back in the day that he was on. God, he was like in one of my favorite TV shows back in like the 80s. Um or maybe 90s. I guess it was 90s. Crap. crap. What was it? It's gonna kill Dear John. Do you remember that show?
I
Like
remember
it's
seeing it advertised, but I never watched it.
like it's a sitcom about a divorced dad,
Hmm.
uh, or divorced man, I don't think it was dad, tries to get his life back in order after losing everything to his ex-wife. But he was in that and a bunch of other stuff. So that's how
Cool.
I remember Jared, but seen any of his movies in so or TV shows in so long. I might try to
Hmm.
find that though, because I remember that being funny. Um,
Oh, it's a funny show?
yeah, it was a pretty funny show. Yeah, it was a
Ah.
comedy. It doesn't
Nice.
sound like one, but but the
It
guy
sounds like
that's
it would be a guy doing like a newspaper article,
yeah, well,
like Dear Abby.
no, so Dear John there's that you never heard of those Dear John letters? They're like yeah, um it was like a breakup. I think they're like a breakup letter, you know.
Oh, okay.
Um hold on, let me see how to describe it. Yeah, meaning. What meaning? Um a letter from a woman to a man, especially a serviceman, terminating a personal relationship. So yeah. So
Hmm.
when somebody writes you or back in the day, that was what they described it as. Somebody wrote you a letter basically terminating your relationship with them. It was called a Dear John letter. There was a big joke in Dumb and Dumber where they said, she sent me a John Deere letter, you know. So,
Wow.
it was like a lot of stuff about me not listening. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. That some of the joke and stuff. So, I absolutely love that. But yeah, so he was in that. But yeah, Something So Right was I think it was pretty funny. I saw some of it. It was like the idea once again sort of step by step-ish where these families have to kind of commingle, get,
Mhm.
or cohabitate, even though they're not, together or like they're together but they're not actually uh like a regular step family, and
Yeah,
everything.
they're
So
not blending.
why am I just now getting step by step, like the title step by step? It being
What do you
a
mean?
step by step, they're stepchildren, everybody's step. I never thought,
Ah,
for some reason, I never even put two and two together with the title. I just thought it was like step by step they were building their family or whatever. But yeah, it's got a double, or triple meaning. I don't know. Whatever. I'm an idiot. It's okay. It happens.
nah.
Director Jonathan Prince of Camp Nowhere. Um, so he's mainly a producer, like he's produced a lot more, I think, than he's directed or wrote. Um, he's directed 10 things. He was a TV director. Okay, that makes sense. He directed
Cool.
for Blossom, directed an episode of Blossom.
Ah.
He directed a show called Dream On. I remember that. It was on like
Oh, I watched that and I wasn't supposed to.
yeah, it's an HBO show. Yeah,
Oh yeah, at 9 p.m. when you're not supposed to watch HBO. I
exactly.
used to actually sneak a tape into the VCR and press record, and then I'd go to sleep. And I would get home from school the next day after it recorded. I tell my mom I'm doing my homework. I'd be watching Dream On.
Nice. Well, there you go. He directed an episode of Dream On. It was in the fourth season.
Oh
So,
wow.
um, he directed The Great Mom Swap, the TV movie. That was
I've heard
after
of that.
Kip. Oh, starring Hillary Tuck. So she was in that.
Ah,
You know. So apparently he's worked really well with her on Camp
nice.
Nowhere. Directed a TV movie called Grown Ups. I'm feeling like a lot of this is like maybe like a pilot for a
Hmm.
TV show, and then it just sort of didn't work, you know?
Ah.
Um, so a lot of times IMDb will actually have the pilots and
Mhm.
everything, and so um, interesting. The show Grown Ups had Nita Barone, David Dorfman, also had Julie Warner, who was in Tommy Boy. She was Tommy Boy's love interest in Tommy Boy,
Ah,
which I just rewatched recently and just still love that movie. Like that movie can still crack me up, even though I know every joke of it. Um,
really? Well,
what
that that you're like, I don't know. Hold on. Sorry, my phone just dinged. I don't know why.
wasn't me?
Okay, sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, it just went bing.
Oh,
So
but what
that
were you
wasn't on
saying?
your side? Huh?
But what were you saying?
I
Did you
forgot.
totally lose it? That damn phone. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, they did like they put up these pilots up on
Uh-huh.
IMDb, and so that was that. And uh Julie Warner was in that Grown Ups pilot, and she was also in
Uh-huh.
Tommy Boy.
Cool.
So yeah, and then Rude Awakening, he directed a couple episodes of that, directed an episode of Guys Like Us, an episode of Party of Five.
Oh, nice. I used to watch that.
Um, oh, he also directed the Grown Ups TV show. So what I'm guessing is that
Huh.
yes, it was a pilot, but it didn't get picked up till they did it as a TV show with a different cast, it looks like.
Hmm.
Um, it's got Jaleel White, Urkel,
Ah.
in the show.
Is that the one that's still on TV now?
No, no.
Oh, okay, because there's one that oh no, that's grown-ish. Never mind.
Oh yeah, Grownish.
Yeah.
That's a completely different one.
Ah.
Um,
He have
but
any relation to the movie
Grown Ups, no, that
Grown
wasn't
Up?
until much
Oh, okay.
later, and that was Adam
Ah,
Sandler and his company.
yeah.
But yeah, it's Jaleel White, Marissa Ribisi, who
Hmm.
is the sister of Giovanni Ribisi, who you may know from he's been in a chunk load of stuff, but
Oh
he
yeah.
was Phoebe's brother in Friends,
Yeah.
and he was in a ton of different things. But
Yeah.
my favorite thing, and I've already done a review of it for Hollywood Knockbusters, I believe, Suburbia. It's like he is so great in that movie. Like just
Really? I haven't
yeah.
seen it.
That's a
Huh.
1995 movie, I want to say.
Oh, it's an old
Yeah,
one.
older.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's
I think the
basic
last thing I saw him in was Ted.
yeah, I think he was in Ted.
I cracked up every time he's like sipping. I think you're alone now. The dance he was doing, I was like, no other actor could do this so well.
Yeah. So I don't know. So there's a great cast. What's your favorite scene in this movie?
I like, actually, it's kind of a mixture of scenes where they're changing the sign for each camp, all the different ways, like one of them flying across, dropping it, one
Well,
shooting the
that
arrow.
was like because it got stuck, and
Yeah,
they had to
it's
basically push
awesome.
the guy off the thing. And I
Yeah.
love how they said they're like we probably lost. What's blah 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 blah. And I was
Yeah.
like thinking, and nobody seemed to care. Like it didn't
Yeah,
matter.
they
It
just go
got
about their business.
yeah. All that matters is that
I
it got
I
finished.
love that part how they were like changing the signs after each little part. I was like, they worked overtime on this.
Had a lot of fun. It was he even said, and I really did like that scene where he sort of stood up for himself finally, because
Yeah,
he was sort of always being walked on and kind of
yeah,
because he's so small, I guess. He just kind of um and I guess that fits with his name, Mud, because he kind of got trampled on like mud, he like stepped on like
yeah,
mud. And
yeah,
so he's talking to the kids, and he says basically, look, I have this idea, you know, and nobody wants to hear his idea. And then
yeah,
all he has to do is convince one, and then everybody starts sort of, and it becomes like that scene in Spartacus where, like, I am Spartacus. No, I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus, right? Like everybody starts going, I'll do it, I want to do it, I'm in,
yeah.
and then he had to get his uh Andrew Keegan's two buddies to agree, two bullies, the two bully people, who kind of come along the ride or whatever, you know. Um, that scene I really liked, and that
Yeah.
also I did also really like. I mean, there was a bunch actually.
I
Um,
know. I
it's hard
actually
to kind of narrow it
watched
down.
it a few times because I was like, okay, I want to watch this part again.
I also really like, and it's really such a small scene, but it worked really well, was when they kind of decided they wanted all the money, you know,
Mhm.
because he held on to the money, and they're like,
Yeah.
money mud, money mud, money
Oh
mud.
yeah.
That was kind of creepy.
Yeah, it was. Could you imagine them doing this movie now, but turning it horror?
I can sort of maybe do that. There's a movie based on a book that I used to read back in like high school or maybe even middle school called Lord of the
Mhm.
Flies.
I
And
remember the books.
remember, and it was like a bunch of kids, and I don't know if they were at a camp or anything, but they sort of like were all by themselves, and they were having like these fires, and they're kind of like it was like their own civilization, and
Mhm.
stuff. And there was like the leader, but then the other people wanted, all this stuff. Um, I think Heavyweights showed that too, where there's that scene where they sort of revolted against the camp. And so all of a
Yeah.
sudden the kids took over the camp at the end of Heavyweights. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Heavyweights. But if you haven't seen Heavyweights, I don't know why you're
Where
on a
you
thing
been?
about Camp
Yeah.
Nowhere. This
Now,
camp.
heavyweights, it was Ben Stiller, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I'm thinking the same one. So,
Yeah. It's the
yeah, they
camp,
like
the fat camp. It's
lock him
got
up.
a bunch of the Mighty Ducks people and stuff in it because it's
Yeah.
Disney. It had, I mean, a great cat. Interestingly enough, it had a guy who would later be a future writer director that we all know, Paul Feig, who wrote. I feel like I'm doing a heavyweights episode now, but who wrote and directed. Wrote Freaks and Geeks. Then later he directed things like Spy or the Ghostbusters, Lady Ghostbusters, which a lot of people liked. I didn't really like it myself personally. And it had nothing to do with the fact that it were women. I was excited to see all women because that
Yeah.
made me like, okay, this is going to be new and different. I just didn't find the humor to be that laugh out loud funny. And
Uh,
I think it was missing what was wonderful about the original Ghostbusters, which was that the humor in the original Ghostbusters was so subtle, you know,
mhm.
that it worked. That was 80s humor, and 80s
Yeah.
humor doesn't work for 2010s, and stuff. So I understand times changed, but the humor just didn't really make me laugh. But I'd
See, I
say
haven't
anything that
seen
has
it.
anything to do with Paul as a director or as a
Mhm.
writer, I think it's the time that we're living in. I liked Spy, and there was another one with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. Um, God, what movie was that? That wasn't Spy, was it? I know Sandra Bullock. Um, do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I don't, maybe it was Spy because that, well, I don't
The
know.
Heat. The Heat.
See, I never saw that.
So
I
yeah,
remember seeing a preview, and that was all I heard about it was the one preview.
yeah. So the Heat was like them, and like they were sort of CIA or FBI or something, you
Hmm.
know. Uptight FBI agent is paired with a foul-mouthed Boston cop, and stuff. So they got to have like, Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. And I love that movie, honestly. I really had a good
It was
time watching
good.
it. It's something I
Nice.
would watch again and again.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, um, like that's a completely different thing than like Ghostbusters. So it didn't work for Ghostbusters. And what I'm happy is that like later, the Jason Reitman who is the son of Ivan Reitman, who directed the original Ghostbusters, continued with his father's legacy with Ghostbusters 3, and that worked really, Ghostbusters Afterlife was really fucking good, you know. So,
Afterlife was the one with the kids, right? And the
right, the kids.
miniature marshmallow guy.
Yeah, yeah, the
Oh,
little
okay.
miniature.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And they're making a
Oh,
sequel
yeah.
to it too. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, well, they're trying to
Is
bring
it
the
that?
franchise back. I would hope that this would launch a new real Ghostbusters TV show, and stuff. And I think they have plans for
Yeah.
that because that would be great.
Nice.
I love that. Unfortunately, I look back at the TV shows that are getting made now that were
Uh-huh.
like remakes of my favorite shows, like the Thundercats and G.I. Joe and stuff like that, and just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A lot of times it just doesn't work out because it's once again it's now and it's made for kids now, you know?
Hmm.
And so I can't watch it and appreciate it like I could back in the day when I watched Thundercats and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be into it or whatever. I'd buy all the um toys and stuff. I hate to say like we grew up in the 80s where toys for kid I mean were big, right? My buddy
Yeah.
Paul lived in the like the 60 not 60s not 60s 70s
No
70s,
way.
yeah, and stuff, and you know there really wasn't like toys in the 60s 70s area. There really wasn't that. It wasn't, you
It was
know
more the 80s that the toys became really big
yeah, it
and
was
on
the
path. But
what,
I do remember my dad had some like it was like a G.I. Joe doll thing, but it was
like the
like
big
a
GI
Ken
Joe.
doll. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those. I know. They're
Yeah,
not
my
like the
dad had,
miniature
I think we still
toys.
have it. Huh?
Oh, you think you still have it?
I think my mom still has it in the closet.
Is it in the
Like
box
she
or is
has
it
her
out?
collect in the box.
It's in the
Yeah,
box.
she
Like,
still has the original Barbie. Like he took it out and played with it, so it's not mint. But like she kept all these dolls, and we
nice.
have no clue what she's going to do with them. But I
I
do
bet you could sell
remember
that on
playing
eBay
with
for
the
pretty
GI
good.
Joe. Oh, probably so. Like she has the original Barbie, and I remember playing with that with the Ken or with the GI Joe doll.
Are you
And
gonna
then
watch the new
like,
Barbie?
oh, I want to so bad to see how bad it is. My
It's
mom
just
saw the commercial yesterday. She's like, "This is going to be the worst movie of the year."
I'm just waiting for the Raggedy Ann and Andy, movie that comes after. No, I'm joking.
I
That's not happening. But
was like, "What?"
yeah, but that like doesn't that sound like something like what if this movie is a success, that's what's going to end up happening because
Oh my gosh.
that's how
They're going to be
Hollywood
like, "Let's
works.
make a Polly Pocket movie."
Remember, this is how
Oh, that'd
Hollywood
be
works. We're
creepy.
talking about Camp Nowhere does well enough or whatever, it gets like interest enough where Disney's like, let's do heavyweights. Maybe they were
Yeah.
going around at the same time. I don't know, but I doubt it. You know,
Yeah.
um, when Hollywood sees something do very well, they want
Uh-huh.
to replicate that
Yeah.
because it's money. And it makes total
Hmm.
sense, that this is why. Okay, somebody was describing this to me. So if you go to a head of a studio, right now, and you're like,
Hmm.
I want to make the most original movie ever made. Nobody's ever seen something like this. They're gonna be blown away. They're gonna think this is amazing and awesome and great, and it's gonna become a new franchise, right?
Hmm.
Or you pitch Barbie Part 2 after Barbie 1 does really well. Which one do you think they'll go with?
I think they'll just make another like it, but there is a chance they could be Barbie in Malibu.
What I'm saying is they'll probably go with the Barbie 2
Yeah.
more so than the original film because it's safer. We already know
I
that
can see that. Yeah.
there's a target audience for it. And the thing is, we don't Hollywood doesn't know what's going to be big until it gets
Mhm.
big, right?
Yeah.
So, um, so if they don't know if Charlie's Angels, the next generation, will be a big hit. That's a
Uh-huh.
name, a title I made up. But like they don't know if that's going to be a big hit until they do it,
Yeah.
or whatever. And once they do it and it is a big hit, but if it's a flop, the studio head who said that was a good idea gets fired, you know.
Ooh, I'd hate to be that one.
That's what I'm saying. Do you understand?
Mhm.
Like, people don't really get this. Like, people don't want to be the guy that like screwed up a studio,
Yeah.
and they can't get work after that.
Mhm.
They want to. Hollywood is not a very they're forgiving to an extent. They're not very forgiving, if you know what I mean. Like they're
Yeah.
pretty much
It,
going to forget you as soon as they can.
yeah. It's like
Um,
they're playing Russian roulette, but with the movie industry.
yeah,
Movie roulette.
and I love Hollywood. I'm a Hollywood guy, as
Oh
opposed
yeah,
to
me
Paul, who
too.
hates Hollywood. Um,
Uh,
Everything it stands for now. Like he loves, once again, he loves 70s and 80s Hollywood and 60s Hollywood, all that stuff. But he hates like today's like big blockbuster everything. And it
mhm.
totally makes sense to me that like the movies that did very well in the box office right now are movies that made a huge profit off of their small budget, you know. So
Ah,
like Insidious did very well opening weekend
uh-huh.
because it's made more than its budget already on opening
Hmm,
weekend. When you make
nice.
more than your budget on opening weekend, you
Uh-huh.
are guaranteed to make at least probably double by the end of it, and stuff, if
Nice.
not more. And
Yeah.
so Insidious is doing really well. Then there's uh Indiana Jones that didn't do so well. And
Ah,
I don't know why. Maybe just there were 10 reasons. Somebody gave 10 reasons online why it didn't do well. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that people just um don't want to see it. Just have no
yeah.
interest in seeing an old Indiana Jones, a geriatric Indiana Jones. They just don't want to see that. And there's also this younger generation that didn't grow up on Indiana Jones like everybody
Yeah,
else did,
true. See,
you know.
my mom said that one was going to be a flop.
And
And
it
I was
was. It
like,
was
why do
a
you say that? She's like, nobody wants to watch this old man. I was like,
right.
wow.
But that's why, like, I think halfway through the movie, it gives it over to somebody else, a woman, who I think that's also
Uh-huh.
a lot of people have a problem with, is like, why why is this a thing, like, constantly, of giving it over to a female version of that person? Right?
Hmm.
Why do we need that like all the time? Not in every movie. Why not do, and I love this. I write a lot of movies centered around women and stuff
Mhm.
where it's an original movie with women, right? Where they get their own movie or whatever, but I wouldn't want to make like, you know, um a movie like take Han Solo and make a female version of him, I wouldn't want to do that because like
Nah.
make an original character, then spin a whole movie around that person,
Mhm.
Like that would be more fun. But
Mhm.
that's once again, it's a Hollywood thing of like, let's get the name recognition that people know of and fix it up around this person now.
Yeah.
Um my other
I I think one character, I don't remember the name of it, but how you were talking about Han Solo, it was he had a gold robot or something like that. And then they turned it into a woman in Spaceballs.
You're talking about Star Wars?
Star Wars, yes. Wasn't there a gold robot
Are
or
you
not
talking
something? I
Yeah,
can't
are you talking
remember
about
the name.
C3PO?
Yes, yes. So they turned him into a woman in Spaceballs.
But that was a joke, and
Yes, but it worked.
it worked. It was
Oh
funny.
yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah,
But see, you've
that's the
noticed
only
like,
time I've seen it transition from a man character to becoming a woman character, and it was actually like, I'm okay with this.
well, I liked how they made Chewbacca into a dog, you know,
Yeah.
right? Like, it was John Candy the
Yeah.
as the Chewbacca character, basically,
Yep.
and he was a Mog. He was a man and a dog. He's like, I'm my own best friend. And that was funny. Like that worked, but that was parody,
Yeah, true.
like it's making fun of instead of being actually
Serious
being
with
it.
it.
And that's the problem
Yeah.
is like we're sort of doing that. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't say anything because Hollywood's gonna do what's gonna do. And
Yeah.
like even if I mention my feelings on it, it's not gonna change anything. So sometimes maybe I should shut my mouth. Just because why, why do that? But I mean, yeah, that's funny that yeah, it was Dot. That was her name. That
Oh
was
yeah.
C3POs. I don't know why they call her Dot. Like I'm trying
I
to think
don't
of
know.
but anyway, yeah, I love that. It was Joan Rivers did the voice. She
Oh
was
really?
remarkable.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
You didn't know that?
Wow.
Yeah, when you
No.
watch that movie again someday, just it's Joan Rivers doing it. She's just phenomenal.
I
And speaking of
actually am
which,
hearing the voice. So yeah. I never
Daphne
put that
Zuniga,
together. Uh-huh.
Daphne Zuniga, was the girl who played Princess Vespa in that, and later she
Yeah.
was on Melrose Place.
Melrose
That'll go back to
Place.
the
Yep.
Melrose Place connection right there.
She's the only one. No, I remember a blonde too.
Heather
Courtney
Locklear.
something. Oh, she was on that too. I forgot about her. No, there was
Oh,
another blonde.
yeah.
It was kind of like highlighted blonde.
Oh, you're talking about
Courtney something.
Courtney Thorne Smith.
Yes, I liked her in it.
Oh, I love
In
her.
the Melrose Place episode that I saw.
I absolutely love her in everything she does. And I love that they got her to basically be an alcoholic at one point and everything.
Oh
Like her
wow.
character, she was on television on like a news thing, like I think it was Conan O'Brien or something. But she was
Uh-huh.
talking about how like her character basically went from this area to this area to this area to this. He did all of this stuff in the span of the years, and then she was like, and so this is my final season that I'm going to be on there because there's just nowhere else they can. There's nothing else they can do to me, you know,
Oh wow. They like
except to
ran her
kill her
through the
off.
middle.
Yeah, except kill her off, I guess, which they would do on that show. I don't remember Beverly
Oh,
Hills 90210 having people just die, on the show. Maybe at the end of the series or something, but
one person died, but I don't remember who. It wasn't a big character. They just kind of, I don't know what happened.
yeah.
Now, Degrassi, that was some show that had some deaths.
Well, here's the
Those
thing,
Degrassi kids had problems.
right? And what was funny is Degrassi was sort of the catalyst at that time to whatever stuff that was happening with us. So we
Yeah.
did certain shows. Degrassi was or Canada was sort of, you know, doing their own versions of these things and stuff. And then we did 90210 and they had was it Degrassi Junior High,
Yeah.
which wasn't I don't know which one came first. 90210 or
Oh,
so
I don't know.
1990 was Beverly
Well,
Hills
I
90210.
remember Degrassi and 15.
Oh,
Those were
Degrassi High
out.
was first.
Ah,
So Degrassi High or Degrassi Junior High was 1987 to 1991. So,
wow.
yeah.
So when did 15 come out?
I
That
think
was another one of the
1990
kids.
something.
Oh, okay. Because I remember I was like 7 or 8 when some of these came out, but I don't remember which ones came out at that
Well,
time.
yeah, it was 1990. It was the same year as 90210. But
Ah,
by the way, I tried to rewatch that show. It does not hold up nearly
what
as
show?
well.
Which one?
15.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's terrible. I was like, what am I watching? This is like some of the most cringiest acting I've ever seen. Even by
Ooh.
Ryan Reynolds, who I love.
Yeah, he was kind of, I don't know. It's like I remember watching some of it when I was a kid and
Right?
thinking, oh, Ryan Reynolds, he's cute. I didn't know he's going to become as big of a star as he is now, though.
I
I just thought, he'll be gone in a year.
He became a huge star, and he's still a
Oh,
huge
yeah,
star, and
he's
he's
still
Deadpool.
huge.
He's
Oh, yeah,
he's
love him in
great.
Deadpool.
Right.
Van Wilder.
Van Wilder, freaking just a lot of stuff. He's been in so much. He was in
Do you
the
ever see a movie called Buying the Cow? He was in
Yes.
that. That
Yes,
was
I own that movie
hilarious.
actually. It's kind of funny.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I bought it recently because I was buying a bunch of DVDs of films from like the early 2000s that were
Ooh.
just sort of like not talked about a lot. I still need a
Uh-huh.
few. Like I need like there's a movie called like 200 Cigarettes.
I remember that. Christina Ricci.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it had a bunch of people. It was like big
Yeah.
all-star cast, and
I remember renting it when I
Ben
worked at the
Affleck
video
was in it, I
store.
think, too.
I think he
Um,
was.
so yeah, so I was renting a bunch of different or buying a bunch of different DVDs of all these different movies and stuff from that time period because those were my video store days. Was the times I worked at the video store, and I would see
Uh-huh.
all these movies and I would rent them all the time because like they were the movies that weren't getting checked out. That I was
Yeah.
like, what is this? And Buying the Cow was one of them with Jerry O'Connell and
Oh,
Ryan
yeah.
Reynolds and Alyssa Milano, I think. And
Yeah.
so yeah.
I actually bought that while I was working at the video store, the VHS, because I was like, nobody's rented it in a whole year. Can I please
Mhm.
buy this? So the lady's like, no, you can't buy it. Just take it. So she
Just
like
take it.
ended up putting that it was stolen,
Oh,
but they didn't know where it went. So she's like, oh, it's a lost one. Somebody kept it out.
I remember this dude who treated me like crap in middle school and everything like really badly, and uh he wanted to rent a movie at the video store, and I checked him out on his card. Remember those little key cards and stuff and
Yeah.
everything, and so it popped up and his name popped up, and I go, "Are you the?" I'm not gonna say his name out loud or whatever, get in trouble or whatever, but are you blah blah blah? And he said, yes, I am. And I said, are you the one that went to my middle school? And he goes, oh my God, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm Jonathan, and he was like, oh my God, right? He didn't know who I was from a hole in the ground. He can't remember me at all, you know? So he goes
Yeah.
up and says, uh, you know, I tell him he's got like a huge late fee. Like like it was redonkulous late fee. Like $900 or something like that. Like
What?
ridiculous. I don't
Wow.
know how he got it up that high, but it was really high. And
Wow.
he was like, well, we're like best friends, so you can just like knock that out, right? Yeah, we went to school together. And I wanted to be like, dude, you picked on me every day at school, like you made my life hell. But I was like, nah, man. I mean, and I wasn't being, like even if I got my uh manager to come check it out, she'd only be able to cut it out by half, and that
Oh,
still was a lot of money. So
yeah,
sorry, man, I can't help you. He was like,
man.
oh, okay, sorry. And I was like, yes, karma. You can't rent me here because you were douching, And it goes to show you, don't be a bully in high school, kids, or middle school,
Exactly.
especially middle school. Middle school was my worst years of my life, and this movie came out during my middle school years. So
Yeah.
this was probably Camp Nowhere was an escape,
Hmm.
for me as a kid. So I didn't go to camp, but I watched a lot of movies and TV, and stuff. So when
Yeah.
I watched this movie, it's almost like I was there at the camp with them and everything. It's just kind of
True.
cool,
Yeah. I
makes you
always
feel good.
wanted to go to a fun camp, but the one I went to is not fun.
I'm telling you, kids are mean, man. They're
Oh,
nasty.
yeah. And the worst part, other than getting picked on, was the food made me sick every day. So
Oh,
for like a whole week, I was throwing up.
that
And we never
sucks.
figured it out. It would happen after breakfast, happen after lunch, happen after dinner. And they're like, okay, well, you're just got a weird stomach. I was like, no, there's something wrong with the food.
They're
And
trying they're
they're trying
trying
to
to mess
kill
with
me.
you. They're trying, yeah, you know.
Yeah. It was like they mixed Epicac in there or something. Oh
That doesn't even sound good. All right.
no.
So yeah, I was trying to think there was another scene. Oh, the car wash scene was freaking hilarious.
Oh, that was great. Where he's stuck in the door.
Yeah, he's stuck in the door and he's going right through the whole car wash. And then all of a sudden the
I'm
emergency,
going through the process with you.
what?
I think he said something like, I'm going through the process with you.
Yeah. Like that's what he was there for. His job was the yeah. I thought that was cute.
Best was the hot wax.
Yeah, at the end.
Yep.
And he got back in that gremlin and took off.
Yeah.
It's
You know,
that
every
scene right
time
there. It's
I
like
go,
right, that's
yeah,
behind me.
every time I go in a car wash, I think about that.
Do you?
I do.
Just
It's
don't get
like,
out.
it's always happened. I picture somebody like stuck to the door going through the car wash with me, and I'm like, oh man, why am I imagining this? I
But
had
I don't
forgotten
understand
until
why
I
he
watched
wouldn't just
the movie
tell him,
again.
"Hey, I'm stuck. Can you just open up the door real quick?"
I
But
know,
nope.
right?
He went right through it with them and everything, and then they got into the car and took off, and the nurse was really nice. I liked her.
Yeah.
Eh, I I don't I don't understand why there was that like love thing between them though. Like, did we really need that?
Well, yeah, I think most movies back then were trying to make a love connection in them,
Well,
and
I
this
thought they
one
had
made
that with the
quite a few.
kids
They had that with
already.
the kids, but there was already they always wanted to do with the adults finding love too.
Yeah, but we didn't need it. But it
Nah, they could
happened
have
and
left it
it
out.
felt very weird too, because like there wasn't I didn't feel any chemistry between either of those two characters and
No.
everything. So um I don't know. I like okay, so I'm yeah, I got a little bit of stuff here like that was said to me personally
Ah, yeah,
and stuff, and so I was telling you about it earlier. And
yeah.
so Uh, Melody and Jonathan Jackson were actually dating during filming.
No way.
Um,
Wow, they didn't tell you that in Tiger Beat.
yeah, well, yeah. So, dang, they didn't know. Like, I guess they were keeping that a secret. Maybe
Maybe.
that's why this is juicy information here. But
Yeah.
probably because they don't. Jonathan Jackson, a lot of those kids had to look like they were single, so that the girls,
The heart throbs.
yeah, the heartthrobs had to look like they were single, and that way they weren't whatever.
And when they got a girlfriend, all the girls, no, not my man.
I know exactly.
Writing them all
And
these
then
letters because they would put their addresses for the fan clubs.
oh yeah, there's all these
I
like
wrote
nasty
to
letters.
so many of
I'm
them.
heart you broke my heart. Now I can never date you, you know,
I
whatever.
remember writing to those addresses, being, I wrote one to Andrew Keegan. I mean,
Did he ever
it's
write
like,
back? Did
wow.
they ever send you anything back?
None of the American stars wrote me back, but I had a couple of Australian musicians and actors write me back.
The only time I've had a person oh no, not only. I've had a few, and these are all through email. So I would send
Ah,
emails to the websites of people. So Mark Dacascos, who was in
yeah.
Double
Only the
Dragon,
strong.
Only the
Oh yeah,
Strong, yeah,
he was in Double Dragon.
yeah, he's a bunch of stuff. And he Only Strong, yeah, tons of stuff. And then he
Uh-huh.
wrote me back. And he actually sent me he didn't write me back an email. He actually sent me a picture of him, and then it said Aloha, Mark Dacascos or Jonathan Aloha, Mark Dacascos. So
That's
that's kind of
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Nice.
And then um Pauly Shore sent me uh a picture from his movie Pauly Shore's Dead. So that was about
Uh-huh.
when he was doing that, which I own
That's
on
cool.
DVD. Love that movie. Um,
Nice.
and then the other one I can think of is David Spade sent me an autograph picture, through his fan
Wow.
club thing. So
You
and that
you
was
know,
during Just Shoot Me because he had a Just Shoot.
oh, that's a good show.
Yeah. So
You
he
know, I
sent me
went to
this.
a bar in California and I swore up and down. I was like, that is David Spade. And he was like, I was like, what's your name? Dave. It's Spade. He's like, no. I was like, you sure? He was the bartender, the owner of the bar, and everything. But it was Joe Dirt. I mean, his hair,
Probably
his
wasn't him,
short,
but like
everything. I was like, that's got to be
unless he
him.
owned a bar, he might have owned a bar. Who
Yeah.
knows? Christopher Lloyd didn't really talk much, but rolled a lot of cigarettes. That's interesting.
Oh, wow. Did
Um,
he smoke them?
I'm guessing if he rolled a
Oh,
lot of cigarettes, I would hope he
I didn't
smoked
know if
them.
it was like an anxiety thing where you roll a bunch of cigarettes and just hand them out to get rid of anxiety.
I
I
don't
did that
know.
once.
Maybe. I never got that information. Never asked. Um, the kiss between Marnette and Andrew was thought up at last minute. Um, and was a little risque for the time. Like for a
Yeah.
13 movie about 13-year-olds, they full on made out, and it was
Yeah.
like you could tell there was, I mean, they were into it, so, or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so and I've heard Andrew Keegan is a really nice guy, which I'm
Very
not
cool.
surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
He always looked like a nice guy, even though his characters were either really douchey or kind of the bully or whatever. He always
Yeah.
seemed like he was probably a nice guy, so
I think the
that's
one character that I didn't like him as at the most amount of him being a jerk was Full House when he was supposed to go on a date with Stephanie and then he just didn't show up. And she was waiting, she was crying. I remember crying with her when it came on because I was like, oh, she got dumped. She got stood up.
that's
But yeah,
terrible.
he was like such a jerk about it. I was like, I do not like him anymore.
I didn't even know he was on that show. Jeez, I need to rewatch
Only
that.
on one episode.
And
It
that
was when
well, geez, yeah,
Stephanie
it
was
was.
like 13 or 14. I even remember the clothes that she was wearing. That's how scary that is.
Oh, because yeah, you seem to really be. Wow. Yeah. So he's Ryan in Full House. An episode called All Stood Up. You know. Oh wow.
Yeah, evidently, like he told people that Danny Tanner ran him over with like a bunch of spam, like the canned spam that you eat,
Right.
the
Different than
stored
the
meat.
spam we get these days.
Yeah.
Stephanie
I'd
asks
rather
the
have that spam.
Stephanie asks a boy to the dance, and he does not show. Danny goes to talk to him, embarrasses Stephanie. Jesse has to relax, but Kimmy and her distractions keep him from doing so. So that's the plot of that
Yeah.
episode. I keep forgetting that it's on Max. I should probably watch that episode at some point.
Oh, I didn't
Just
know
'cause.
that. I'm watching it on cable. Well, satellite.
Well, do you have Max?
I don't. Is it worth getting?
If you like HBO Max stuff, like HBO stuff, and everything, there's a lot of shows, a lot of movies, a lot of stuff that's not like Big Bang Theory's on there.
Oh, really?
Friends is on there, tons of
Nice.
stuff. So it's
Is True Blood on there?
yeah, it's HBO.
Oh, so it would totally be worth getting then.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
I want to watch that again.
Entourage is on there. Lots of great shows.
Ah,
So that's one of my
nice.
favorites. Entourage was like Sex in the City for men. Um, I think that's about it. I mean, we talked about this movie, but there's really, I mean, it's a fun, cute story Involving kids. I mean, let me see real quick. Let me see what it did in the box office if they even said much of that, you know? Um,
Yeah.
because I always like to look that up and find out what what it did as far as so opening weekend it was 2,755,661, grossed 10,475,705. Doesn't say what the budget. Let me see if I can find the budget of it.
Ah.
Because once again, at least nowadays, a movie has to sort of earn double its budget in order to make a
Uh-huh.
profit, you know.
Ah. Got
Um,
you.
but it does not say the budget, it does not say what the budget is, so I have no idea. Um, but yeah, it was video released by I guess it says Walt Disney, but it was
Hmm.
Hollywood
Hmm.
Pictures who put it out. It's interesting though, but I mean, because they're owned by Disney, so
Hmm.
yeah. So box office is 10 million, but it doesn't say what the
Hmm.
uh what the actual budget was. So
Gotcha.
either if it was 10 million itself, like the budget, it
Uh-huh.
probably was less. I would say less. I would say maybe it might have got double its budget, but the main reason I choose to do a show like or do an episode with a movie like Camp Nowhere is
Hmm.
that Camp Nowhere is a movie that sort of once again kind of disappears into like the world. Like nobody really remembers Camp Nowhere unless somebody brought it up and people, like it's not talked about as much. And a lot of
Yeah.
it, I feel is like the lack of it being represented on digital and a lack of it being on like physical copies and stuff. Like I have a Blu-ray of it, but I just bought the Blu-ray of it and
Uh-huh.
it was on two different manufacturers. So Kino Lorber put one out, and I don't know if that had any extras or not, but the one Mill Creek put out had no extras. It's just bare bones. All it had was the movie, like play movie or chapters. So you could select which
Ah.
movie, episode, which scene you want to go to
Uh-huh.
and stuff. So
Hmm.
sad. It's no like I would have loved maybe like next year will be 30 years. Wait, 30 years? Yeah, 30 years.
Wow.
1994, 2024. So next
Oh my
year will be
God.
30 years. I don't want to tell any of the cast that. Jeez, this is gonna make me feel old. But it makes me feel old because I
I know,
watched
me
it as
too.
a kid. Um, and I loved it as a kid. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's one of those movies that a lot of people talk about and or did used to talk about all the time. And
Yeah.
it was a movie I'd watch all the time, like all the time. I would be on repeat at my
I
house.
did it too.
Yeah, I was one of those kids that watched, if I like something, I want to watch it over and over and over again until I get sick of it. And
Yeah, same here. I still do that.
I wish I still could do that. I don't have time
Ah,
because I do so many podcasts, so I watch so many
uh-huh.
different movies. Like I'm so happy because tomorrow I'm not doing a podcast. So, and
Oh.
then I'm not doing a podcast till Sunday.
Hmm.
And stuff. So I really have I can just watch a bunch of different movies or something if I want to. I'm
Uh-huh.
just gonna probably end up watching TV
Ah,
because it's
that works
simpler.
too.
What?
That works too.
Right? I mean, just watch
Yep.
Seinfeld, like it's
Yeah.
just, Seinfeld's 20 minutes. It's not a big deal and it's over and you've seen it. So, anywho, I just want to say thank you so much, Anna. You're very welcome to come on the show at any
Thank
other
you for
time.
having me.
And everybody listening, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I do not know what's next. I don't even know when it's next. I'm hoping it's next month. Can't promise you
Ah,
that just because I don't have anything scheduled yet, so I can't say anything. But when I get all that scheduled, you'll find out. And check out Indie Film Cafe and Hollywood Knockbusters on Facebook. Also check out them on, well, at least I don't know if Hollywood Knockbusters has an Instagram. I kind of hope not, because I just have too many Instagrams and just too many
Oh,
pages to like monitor. And I could just do it on Indie Film Cafe if I need to talk about Hollywood Knockbusters. Just
yeah.
easier. Um, but also check indiefilmcafe.reviews and sickflightproductions.com as so to check out more information about the stuff. But until then, everybody, thank you, Anna. Thank you,
Thank
everybody
you.
else, for
This was
checking us.
fun.
This was fun. And check me out soon. So until then, everybody. Bye.
Bye bye.